Hey everybody, let's give you a little intro sound. Hey there. It's Friday and it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so here we are with Fortissimo, Fridays at 5 o'clock with Flavor. I'm Laura Lamporter from The Rhythm and the Flavor, also known as The Flavor. Um, and yeah, boy, so there's a lot going on in the world, in life, in personal and professional life. Um, just to check in on the well-being. So yesterday, it was not really a purposeful thing, but it was sort of on accident. I just had a lot of things to do, and so I ended up just working all day, like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., pretty much nonstop. And at the end of the day, I realized I think that was the first time since I've been on this medical leave that I put in a full day's work, and I was exhausted at the end of it. Like I was so tired and so fatigued and so achy. I could barely even like think about how to put dinner together. Luckily, I had a bunch of salad fixins on hand. Um, so that was an interesting marker to observe in this whole process in the journey toward wellness. Um, and I'm capable. I definitely don't have the energy that I used to. Still waiting to see what's going on with the rheumatologist. The medicine that I've been taking for about 2 weeks now has no awful effects like the stuff I tried in August, so that's good. Hasn't really resolved much yet, so still crossing my fingers, hoping it works, and just kind of taking things one step at a time. At the same time, today is day 3 of this 12 days of gratitude thing that I'm doing. And so today I just wanna talk about my partner, Mike. He doesn't like being in the limelight. He prefers to be the guy behind the curtains, turning knobs and making things happen. He doesn't like you to usually have the focus on him. But this mask, which some of you may know from our music video, the music video for Souls in Isolation. This is the mask that Mike designed, and it really, if you just look at the way he works with detail and the way his image really kind of evokes a very strong feeling. It sort of taps into, so our sound, we're kind of trying to decide what our sound is, and if you have opinions about how you would define our sound, because we're still kind of trying to really zero in on what the exact kind of subgenre or micro niche is. Lately, I think we're working with this idea that we are acoustic lounge, or even maybe acoustic lounge groove. So if you think that is appropriate, say something in the comments or give us a thumbs up or whatever. But I have to admit that, Mike's a metal guy, and so you can kind of see in this mask how some of the influences of metal might actually be sneaking into our music. So our music is not really very heavy, but occasionally we will throw some things in that kind of rock out a little bit. And so, I'm grateful for him. He's been a really great partner in both life and creativity. I would say that he's definitely someone I trust more than most folks, especially even more than, most of my blood family. Um, And the two of us have rather complementary creative skills. So it has sort of worked out that it's a good partnership for music and for creativity and for, we're working on, right now we're working on I don't know if it's a secret project, but it's something related to Edgar Allan Poe. So we've got a deadline coming up, so we've been doing a lot of ADR on the project. And, when we put our mind to it, we're pretty efficient at stuff. And so I really appreciate that about him. And from the beginning, neither of us was really particularly interested in any of these sort of fantasies or these ideals about romantic relationships. We're kind of both real pragmatists in that regard. Earlier in my life, probably 20 years ago, I had dreams of, oh, I'm going to find this right person and we're going to live this life happily ever after being famous artists and saving the world. um, and then I think as soon as I gave up clinging to that fantasized ideal of what it meant, we just sort of happened into each other's lives. And that was over 10 years ago. And here we are, we're just hanging out doing our thing. Um, and the song I'm going to share with you, because as if you've been paying attention, you know that the format here is I talk a little bit about, the public accountability of my wellness journey, and I share one of our songs with you. Sometimes I'll even go deep and share a song from, previous projects. There was a solo album I did many years ago with my ex-husband, and then there was the band I was in Boston and Brazil, Outrageous Fortune. So today I am going to share with you a song called Wild Oak Kiss. Oh, but before I do that, because we're doing this 12 Days of Gratitude, so let me do my little silly gratitude thing. So, what is this third day? So, on the third day of gratitude, do 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 do. My man rocks, my mortgage is paid, and I still don't have COVID-19. So when we get to the end of it on the 12th day, you can join in, you can sing along if you want. It's very silly, but once again, reiterating it's important to cultivate gratitude for a lot of reasons. For me, it's related to my emotional well-being, to just try to focus on what I have, what I'm grateful that I have, and not try to focus on what's missing or what I don't have or what's lacking in the world. Because there's a lot that, if we think about it, there's a lot we should be doing that's not happening. So this song, Wild Oak Kiss, actually started out as a poem. And the poem that I was writing, it was at a time when, I think I had been through a fair share of heartbreak. And I think I had also realized that I had done my fair share of breaking of hearts. So I came to this place and this poem, initially, kind of looking back at my life and imagining, the various loves that I had had, and also imagining what my mental mindset was, going into some of those key romantic relationships that I've had in my life. So, and then I use this metaphor of the garden, like a magical garden or a forest or plant life as the objects of affection. So, the poem starts out, and I'm looking at all these very exotic flowers, these orchids that, I'm very drawn to the physical beauty of these gorgeous flowers, only to find out that they're very delicate, and if you overwater them, or if you underwater them, or if you don't treat them right, they can die. And then the second stanza of the poem looks at, so what happens the first time someone has really been heartbroken after, falling in love with a beautiful flower, and then walking through a desert, and then what happens when you come across a cactus, right? And cacti, in the plural, they're very resilient for living in the desert, but they also don't necessarily give a lot in return. And so the metaphor there is like, here I am pouring this water all over this cactus, and all it does is stab me, and so I stab it back in revenge. Again, these are metaphors. I've never actually done that to a physical person. Um, and then the final stanza looks at, when a person has been through all of these various life experiences where, they've been heartbroken, they've been disappointed, they've been hurt, they've hurt people. Um, when you finally find like a solid oak tree, that you can kind of climb up and sit on the branches, and it's very sturdy, and it's got scars and you've got scars, and yet somehow you feed each other, and somehow you care for each other, and somehow you find a way to nourish each other and nurture each other. And so I didn't actually specifically write this poem for Mike, but it certainly fits, I think, our situation pretty well. That we came to each other with our own sets of battle wounds and scars, and we just appreciate that about each other. So I'm not going to make this too long because we are under a deadline. We've still got some ADR sessions we have to do to get things done. So I'm going to play this song Wild Oak Kiss for you, which is the final song from the solo performance How Not to Make Love to a Woman, which I have performed in a lot of different places, a couple of different continents at least. And so we turned the poem into a song. So I guess this one is for all the tree huggers out there. It's a lively little song for those of us who appreciate that. So here we are with Wild Oak Kiss on this fine Friday in November. I'm walking through the garden, admiring the young sprouts, with my water bucket. Which one needs my water spout? Walking through the garden, see an orchid flower, pour my bucket over, watch it wilt and drown. I cry my tears, fill my bucket, and move on. Cry my tears and move on. Cry my tears, fill my bucket, and move on. guess the message there is when life gives you tears, go water a plant. And I'm not exactly the best person to give that advice because I tend to have a bit of a purple thumb. I wish I were better at gardening. Now seems like the right time to cultivate gardening skills, especially, during a pandemic when, you want to try to avoid going out as much as possible. But at least as a metaphor, we can use that. So, a couple of updates for everybody. I have been watching some of the industry bits of information about music on social media and live streaming. And YouTube and Instagram and Facebook have all updated their terms. And they made it absolutely abundantly clear that we really can't be performing covers as live YouTube streaming anymore. So we are in the process of just kind of shifting how we're going to make our offerings. So the December show, we're actually going to be we had originally wanted to invite some folks over for a safe, socially distanced event. But it seems like a really bad time to do that. The numbers are spiking, and it seems like it's best for everybody to just stay home. But we are looking into, on an ongoing basis for our monthly events, to make sure that we do have a safe, socially distanced space for folks to be able to come be here in person and hear our concerts. The other thing we're going to be doing is we're still going to be streaming, but we're only going to send it to our Patreon fans. So, and it's super cheap to get in at the live stream level. You only need to sign up for $2 a month. So for $2 a month, you get to hear our music. You can access any of our live shows. You can stream them later. So definitely sign up for our Patreon. I'll put the links in the bio here or in the description of the video. And that song, Wild Oat Kiss, is off of our album Comfort Food, which you can buy at our Bandcamp site, therhythmandtheflavor.bandcamp.com. And it's also for sale on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon and you search for either Comfort Food or The Rhythm and the Flavor, you can find our work on Amazon. I'm told we're soon going to be on iTunes and Spotify as well. And Pandora hasn't happened yet. I keep trying to do a search for us on Pandora, and they haven't gotten their thing up to speed yet. So I'll keep you updated as much as we can and as often as we can. And once again, if any of you who have already been listening to our music for a while want to give us some feedback on what you think about the kind of genre, subgenre, micro niche, how you would describe our music, because sometimes we don't always know exactly how other people are receiving it. So I'd love to hear like, what about our music speaks to you the most? What's your favorite part of our music? What's a phrase you would use to describe us? So put it in the comments. And, subscribe to our channels. I'm doing the every Friday on the Laurel and Porter channel, but I'm also posting things on The Rhythm and the Flavor. So check us both out. And it's Friday, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so cheers.